Hey, welcome to this edition of Thrive. As always, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to encourage you to make the most of the life that is yours. And certainly, as we have come to the end of our first week of level 2, it's certainly been exciting, hasn't it, to begin to rebuild our lives and to journey out and to re-engage with people and some routines that we had shelved for so long. You know, one of the things that I hadn't realised I missed over the lockdown was sport on TV. It's always been my habit on a Sunday afternoon to sit down in my chair and watch sport, whether it be motor racing or rugby or things like that. For me, it's just been a good way of just unwinding and relaxing and preparing myself for the week ahead. And so in the absence of that, I found that I had to develop new routines. And one of the things that I ended up finding myself watching was cycling. And you only have to look at me and realize I'm not a cyclist. And yet I began to become fascinated with it as I was watching reruns of the Tour de France and other big races. And maybe like me, you're aware of cycling, you've watched it on the news from time to time, but you've never really followed it. And so you've heard of things, but you've never really understood them, like this whole thing called the peloton. You know, I knew roughly what it was, but I just thought it was a bunch of the riders at the front who sort of stayed together to encourage each other and just make sure that no one got the jump, so to speak, on the rest of them and created too big a break so that they all had a chance towards the end. And then I found out that it was actually really, really strategic, that it's not just the riders bunching together, they do it in a particular way for particular reasons. I hadn't realized that every team has what they call a principal rider, and that rider sits in the middle of that peloton, and the other team members surround them as best they can and as close as they can, and the faster and the harder they pedal and go, the easier it becomes for the principal rider, to the point that the principal rider in each team, if the peloton's working well, we only end up using, say, 10% of the energy that it takes the rest of the team members to go forward, so to speak, so that they're able to conserve so much of what they have, so that when the time is right, they have the energy and reserve to be able to make the break for the line and do that sprint that we see on the news where they're just leaving everybody else behind. And as I was sort of finding this out and listening to different commentators talk about different strategies that teams had in the peloton, one of them remarked about domestics, which was really just French for servant. And it just struck me, wow, what an amazing illustration that was for you and I in the way that we perhaps need to live our lives. You see, while it's the principle that gets the jersey and the publicity when they win, it's the team that gets the victory. You see, what happens is that the team members serve the principal rider because they know that the best chance of the team getting a victory is when the strongest rider, the designated sprinter, is at their peak and has got as much energy as they can to be able to do what they do. And so what they do is they you could say sacrifice themselves in order to get a team victory. And I thought, wow, isn't that a life lesson for you and I? Because pre-COVID, at any rate, so many of us lived our lives for ourselves. So many of us lived our lives on the basis that I need to work towards my goals and dreams because no one else is going to do it for me. No one else is really going to help me achieve my dreams and my goals. And so we ended up living almost very selfish lives. We would never see it that way, and we'd certainly never speak it in that way. But really, we lived as individuals, didn't we? And it's my hope that as we re-engage in life, that we actually build some new patterns. And I think the pattern of the peloton would be a great pattern for us to adopt if we're to thrive in our lives. Because imagine what it would be like if we lived like a peloton, where we surrounded ourselves, where you surrounded yourself with people who believed in you, who understood you, who would say to you, no, I'm here to serve you so that you can achieve your your dreams and hopes so that you can achieve your goals. I'm here to do what I can do to help you be the best version of you that you can be. And in return, you say to your peloton, you know what? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you become the best version of you can be. I'm here to help you to do the hard yards, to do what's required so that you have enough in the tank and you have what you need at the right time to be able to do what only you can do, so that together we all win. You see, I think that we should live with dual roles, if you will. We should live with this understanding that each of us is a principal rider, and yet each of us is a servant. There are things in your life and my life that we're hardwired to do, and that only you and I can do. Only you can do what you can do. Only I can do what I can do. And if we just live out of that and we recognize that in one another, it means that I'm going to serve you to do what you do best, and you're going to serve me to do what I can do best, so that together the team gets a victory. Imagine what life would be like if we could do that. And so I want to encourage you as we go forward and as we begin to build new routines, don't default to old behaviors, old ways of thinking, old ways of doing team where we're really just a collection of individuals. But that we actually adopt new ways. Think of the peloton. Think in terms of team victory, and recognizing if I serve you and you serve me together, we're going to see victories where we didn't see them before. So that each of us may go from strength to strength and thrive in life. So that's my encouragement for you tonight. And I just want to say that if you're finding these thrives helpful, you're finding that they are encouraging you and they are giving you something to think about and something to inspire, I really would love it if you could just hit the subscribe button at the bottom. We would really love it if you could do that, because then you'll be advised of when there's new posts and that. But it also means that as we build our subscribers, it unlocks the ability for us to do a few more things. So if you would do that, that would be great. But again, if you don't want to, just keep watching. It's great. But anyway, until next time, look forward to seeing you. God bless you.